Thank you. You know, something happened on Friday. President Obama exposed what he really thinks about free people and the American vision and government, what he really thinks about America itself. He probably wants to understand why his policies failed. If you want to understand why his policies have failed, why what he has done has not created jobs or rising incomes in America, you can look at what he said. And what he said was this. He said, and I quote, and he's speaking, by the way, of businesses like this one, small businesses, big businesses, middle-sized businesses, mining businesses, manufacturing, service businesses of all kinds. He said this: if you've got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. That's somebody else's government, in his view. He goes on to describe the people who deserve the credit for building this business. And of course, he describes people who we care very deeply about, who make a difference in our lives. Our school teachers, firefighters, people who build roads. We need those things. We value school teachers, firefighters, people who build roads. You really couldn't have a business if you didn't have those things. But you know, we pay for those things, all right? The taxpayers pay for government. It's not like government just provides those to all of us, and we say, oh, thank you, government, for doing those things. No, in fact, we pay for them, and we benefit from them, and we appreciate the work that they do and the sacrifices that are done by people who work in government. But they did not build this business. The idea to say that Steve Jobs didn't build Apple, that Henry Ford didn't build Ford Motor, that Papa John didn't build Papa John Pizza, that Ray Kroc didn't build McDonald's, that Bill Gates didn't build Microsoft. You go on the list, that Joe and his colleagues didn't build this enterprise. To say something like that is not just foolishness, it's insulting to every entrepreneur, every innovator in America, and it's wrong. And by the way, the president's logic doesn't just extend to the entrepreneurs that start a barbershop or a taxi operation or an oil field service business like this and a gas service business like this. It also extends to everybody in America that wants to lift themselves up a little further, that goes back to school to get a degree and see if they can get a little better job, to somebody who wants to get some new skills and get a little higher income, to somebody who may have dropped out that decides to get back into school and go for it, people who reach to try and lift themselves up. The president would say, well, you didn't do that, all right? You couldn't have gotten to school without the roads the government built for you, and you couldn't have gone to school without teachers, so you're not responsible for that success. Look, President Obama attacked success, and therefore under President Obama we have less success, and I will change that. I've got to be honest. I don't think anyone could have said what he said who had actually started a business or been in a business. And my own view is that what the president said was both startling and revealing. I find it extraordinary that a philosophy of that nature would be spoken by a president of the United States. It goes to something I've spoken about from the beginning of the campaign, that this election is to a great degree about the soul of America. Do we believe in an America that is great because of government, or do we believe in an America that's great because of free people allowed to pursue their dreams and build their future? You understand, of course, what's going on. What he is saying is his justification for raising taxes higher and higher because government needs more. What he's saying is his justification for Obamacare which says we need 2,300 pages of legislation to have government more intrusive in your life. What he's saying is his justification for a larger and larger government. This is very different, by the way, than the Democratic Party of Bill Clinton that said that the era of big government was over, that reformed welfare. You heard that story, by the way. He's trying to take work out of welfare requirement. It is changing the nature of America, changing the nature of what Democrats have fought for and Republicans have fought for. In the past, people of both parties understood that encouraging achievement, encouraging success, encouraging people to lift themselves as high as they can, encouraging entrepreneurs, celebrating success instead of attacking it and denigrating makes America strong. That's the right course for this country. His course is extraordinarily foreign. Now, Joe got it right. Where'd Joe go? There he is right here. Joe got it right. He said something about what would happen if President Obama were to be reelected, and I don't think that's going to happen. But if he were, but if he were reelected, I want you to know that what you've seen for the last 3.5 years, you'd be seeing for the next 4.5 years. And what that means is chronic high levels of unemployment. It means low wage growth to negative wage growth, declining median incomes in this country, and it means putting America on the door to fiscal calamity. We have seen what Obama's political philosophy brings, and we don't want any more of it. I have a very different view than the president's. You see, I happen to believe that the kid that studies hard and works hard and gets an A, that he achieved that, or she achieved that, and I give them credit for doing so. I believe the person who worked hard and did a good job and got a promotion deserves credit for having achieved that. I believe that the young person who came up with a new idea that changed the world on the internet deserves credit for having done that. And by the way, I believe that Joe and people around him and all these businesses I met around the country that have grown and thrived, I believe that they and the people who worked there built those enterprises. It is their responsibility, their achievement, and they deserve credit for it. The president justifies taking more of what people earn by saying, look, it's also our system of government that makes things possible for entrepreneurs and innovators, and that's true. But let's stop and think about the system of government and what it tells us in its founding document, the Declaration of Independence. It does not say that the government gave us our rights. It said that God gave us our rights. They come with us, not with government. It said that among our rights given to us by God, by our Creator, were life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Our capacity to build and lift ourselves and reach for the stars is not thanks to a government that says fine. It is instead thanks to a God who loves us and gives us those rights and those opportunities. I'm convinced that President Obama's efforts to denigrate and diminish success and individual achievement would diminish us all. And that's one reason why he's not going to get reelected. I'll tell you this. I'm convinced he wants Americans to be ashamed of success. I want Americans to welcome and to celebrate success and to encourage people to reach as high as they can, and in some cases to build enterprises. I don't want government to take credit for what the individuals of America accomplish, whether they work in government or work in the private sector. It's the people of America that make America the unique nation, the exceptional nation that it is. I believe that if you have a philosophy and an approach as a nation which celebrates risk takers and celebrates achievement and says go out there and do whatever you can and welcomes dreamers from all over the world, that will make us more prosperous and create more jobs. We know what his philosophy brings. We've seen it the last 3.5 years. We've seen the numbers. We've seen the suffering. His philosophy of big government, government intrusive in our lives, higher taxes keeps us from achieving what we can achieve.